also to be able to forward that on to you. So please just put your email in the chat box, and I will be sure to do that here in just a few. While we're doing that, don't worry, Stephanie, I'll send it to you too. While we're doing that, I would love to hear from you. What are your intentions? What would you like to get out of this class so that I can make sure, we've got 2 hours together. This is one that we are going to be talking a bit about marketing on a high level. We're also actually doing some planning. So the planning part is what's important to me. I never want you to just come to a class and go, oh, that was a wonderful class, and actually not do anything with the material. So we are and have every intention for you to be building out a plan. So if you are going to be using your computer, I would suggest opening up Google Docs. If you are someone who needs pen and paper, then please go ahead and grab that now, whether it's a legal pad, whatever you need. We are going to be taking notes. You are going to be putting things into action. So please do that. Yes, DJ said I used this material from the class last year. I've been teaching the same class for the last 3 years, right? It doesn't change. The methods that are here are always the things that are tried and true and the things that can be absolutely helpful for you. Perfect. Shantae is going to be posting the link to the calendar in Facebook, and then I will do the same on Zoom. So go ahead, tell me, what do you want to get out of this class? There's quite a few of you between Facebook and Zoom. Go ahead and put in the chat box for me. What are you hoping to gain out of the next 2 hours that we have together? Also, please be in a space where I might volunteer you to participate. I'm also going to be asking for you to participate. So the ability to raise your hand and unmute yourself. The last thing that I want after being on the Reedy and Red show at 8:30 and then 3 hours of Ignite and then turn around and do 2 hours here. The last thing that I want to do is hear myself for 2 full hours. So would love to be able to hear from you. For DJ, he's saying that he wants a more refined plan for this year to sharpen what he's done within the last year and make sure that that's the direction that he's moving. Arlene wants to learn how to market herself. Jay said to have the best marketing techniques. Let's see. Lindsay, thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay said that this is probably her favorite class. I appreciate it. For as long as I have been teaching this class, Lindsay has been here making sure that she sets up all of her pre-planning. So Lindsay, you're definitely going to be one of those that I would love to be able to just get some feedback as to the value that you've had from it. Same thing with you, DJ. Chuck wants to be focused. Jordan says, I would like to learn some creative and proven methods to engage and grow my audience on Facebook and Instagram. All right. Divya said to get more organized. And Jack is finally saying what I have been waiting to hear, which is to build a strong plan for farming. Samuel, a plug-and-play marketing model. Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to be able to get there. Linda, better guidance and planning for the new year. So let's get into it. So let's have just a couple of questions. I'm going to ask the first question, which is, how imperative do you think on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that it's of utmost importance and 1 being that it's nice, but it's not necessary, how important do you believe that marketing is to the success of your business, no matter the industry that you're in? All right, so we're getting 10s, 10s, 10s across the board. And so then comes the next question. We'll let a couple more of those 10s come in. Yet the question that I have for you is then, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed have you been to your marketing plan for your business in the past? So for those of you who said 10s for importance of marketing, and yet when you gave yourself an assessment and you scored below a 5 or even a 6, why is there where's the disconnect between the importance of marketing and your effective follow through? What do you think? Okay, so Chuck said not focused enough, being all over the board. Bianca said before I was part-time, and that again was a lack of focus. Okay. Jordan said a lack of consistency. Duke said not following the models. Okay. DJ said helps keep me accountable, being interested versus committed. So for those of you who might not be familiar, and I see that Jack put here on commitment as well, is the idea of being interested and committed. I think a lot of people are interested in the idea of marketing. They're interested in the value that can happen around marketing. And I see even for Jack says, you know, he might have a little bit of dispute on whether or not he thinks marketing is important because 99% of his business comes from referrals. And yet I think if we were to dissect what the Jack Smith team does from social media and other things from a marketing perspective, we might actually see where there's some correlation, right? So understanding that the idea of being interested to something and being committed, I love, Rachel gives a reference to breakfast, right? At least Western breakfast, the idea of eggs and bacon, right? This is the idea that the chicken lays the eggs and then the pig is slaughtered for bacon. So if we look at breakfast, right, the chicken is interested in the outcome of breakfast and the pig is committed to the outcome of breakfast, right? It's the same thing that when we talk about you building an effective marketing plan. Now, a lot of people ask the question around marketing, or they hear the word marketing and they think that there is a large cost associated to it. So understanding that there is going to be a certain cost to certain elements of marketing, it doesn't have to be, right? So when we think about marketing, first of all, for those of you that are on here, and majority of our audience is going to be real estate agents. We do have some people who are in here that are not real estate agents, and I'm excited for you to be here. I love the transferable aspects of this content for any business, truly. As I've mentioned before, Rachel and I have both built businesses outside of the real estate sales business utilizing these models to have success. And I do believe in them wholeheartedly. It's absolutely transferable. I realize that as I'm getting through this, there are some people who might not know who I am. And not that that really is important, but if we're going to spend 2 hours together, I think you should at least know that. So my name is Michael Reedy. I'm the Director of Productivity for the Keller Williams Chadwick Group in Pinellas County. We service 3 market centers. Those market centers are the Downtown St. Pete Market Center, the Gulf Beaches Market Center, and the Seminole Market Center. Because of that, I have the pleasure of working with our business coaches and many agents who are looking to build their business. Because of that, I am honored that we have been recognized as one of the top coaching companies in Keller Williams out of 900 market centers. And that's truly a testament to the work that our people do. I'd love to take a lot of credit for it, and I'll take my fair share. However, it really is about you taking this information and doing it. I love and am so happy to see many people that are on here, like Lindsay, like DJ, like Jack, like Divya, like Kashmir, that are individuals who have come to these classes and have committed to actually implementing this to watch their business grow. And that is the one thing that if you want to honor our time together, if you want to say thank you to me for a great class, the best way that you can thank me is actually putting these things into action and then seeking accountability through a coaching group, through a private coach, whatever that looks like. You need the accountability because so much of you have already said, I have a lack of consistency, right? I know that this sounds like it's nothing to do with marketing, and yet it has everything to do with marketing because marketing is consistent messaging over time, right? One of my favorite sayings, and it's going to be interwoven throughout the next 2 hours, is time on task over time beats talent every time. I'm going to say it again. because if it was a tramp stamp, I would have it, right? Time on task over time beats talent every time. And the reason why this is so important is because many of you are going to be thinking about building a new geographic farm. Many of you are going to be thinking about going after a particular market. Maybe you want to move into luxury. You might have a little voice in the back of your head saying that there's someone in this farm that is already dominating. You might have a story in the back of your head that says that you aren't worthy of going after those larger listings and working with those clients. I promise you that if you put in the work, time on task over time will beat any natural talent or any natural connections that someone has. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what marketing is, right? So we talk about lead generation or client acquisition as being prospecting and marketing, right? So prospecting is going to be time intensive, meaning it's your time. It's you being on the phone, it's you going to a networking event, it's your physical time. If you do not show up or if you do not take the action, it doesn't have any results. That is called prospecting, right? Active lead generation. So by being prospecting based, this is the idea that we are going to be making phone calls. We are going to be connecting with our people, right? We are in the people business. We are absolutely in the people business until they have a real estate need or whatever industry you're in, and then we're in the real estate business. I want us to move away from looking at people with a dollar sign on their forehead as either buyer, seller, or investor. It really is about building layered relationships with people based on the activities and interests that they have, which means that before we can build a successful marketing plan, we're going to have to know who it is that we're communicating to and how we want to communicate to them. Okay. So understanding that, I also want to ask you, how many of you believe that you are marketers? Yeah, I love that, Bianca. She says she's a marketer and a campaigner, right? We're going to talk about what that looks like and some of the avenues that can be helpful. And yet I think a lot of people think that they're real estate agents. Like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, my license says that I'm a real estate sales associate or broker associate, or broker if you have your own brokerage, right? So this concept that is that you're a real estate agent only exists if you have clients. If you don't have clients, you are unemployed. And so we are marketers first, real estate agents second. Until we have clients, we can't do the real estate business. Right? If we were to think about the top 20% of activities that you can do as a real estate agent or as a business owner, but specifically with real estate, is to lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, scripts, and role play, right? So lead generation, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, scripts, and role play. Notice, if I don't lead generate, if I don't go after client acquisition, there is no one to follow up with. If I do not go on lead generation, if I do not focus on client acquisition, there is no contract to negotiate. If I do not deal with or focus on client acquisition, there is no deals to happen. Right? There's no appointments to go on. There's no negotiation to happen. There's no leads to follow up with. And then the scripts and role play are irrelevant. If you're going to practice in front of the mirror but never get on stage, it doesn't matter, right? So this is the idea that everything in our business begins and ends with the amount of client acquisition that we do. And we do that through lead generation, which is defined as both prospecting and marketing. So when we talk about being a marketer, there are a couple different avenues of what people think of. And so when I would ask you whether you're consistent or inconsistent, where are you finding that you are marketing yourself and your business? Go ahead and put that in the chat box for me. Okay, so Jason said Facebook. right? Farm area, the condo building that he's in, or a condo that he's identified. So good to see you, Jason. I love seeing you on here. Arlene said social media. DJ said Facebook and through the market center. Let's see. Stephanie said postcards. Mike Howell said open houses. Divya through Facebook and care calls, handwritten notes, postcards to the condo association. Let's see, face-to-face interactions. Absolutely, right? We're looking at Facebook stories, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram. We are constant with phone calls and pop-bys. Absolutely, all of these things are going to be there. I will remove you, DJ. Is the idea here of looking at and focusing on the activities that are so important. And so, you know, it's really imperative that if you're thinking about anything, and I'm going to use the same analogy that we used about a month ago when we were doing the geographic farming class. So if we think about someone who is an actual agricultural farmer, what is the process of someone who is thinking about turning land into crop? Like, take me through it step by step. What happens? So we first have to identify the land, right? So identifying the land, where's the location, the real estate aspect. Then we have to figure out what the soil is good for, right? Are you going to be growing a Cabernet or producing a Cabernet with the soil that we have here, right? God, I hope not. Right? We've got some of these wine distilleries here in our area that's with strawberries and oranges, and it's garbage, right? And yet the idea is because our soil is not there. So we then have to test the soil so that we know what we have to do, right? After we test the soil, then we get to figure out what is the type of plant that we want to use. Then we're figuring out the seed. What varietal would we like to have, right? What else? What happens after the seed? DJ said we till the soil, right? Absolutely, so that we can make sure that it can be fertile and that it's going to receive the seed. Absolutely. What else? So irrigation, right? So we're going to plant the seed, then we're going to cover it, and then we're going to water it. Then we're fertilizing, then we're tending to it, right? Pulling the weeds. Right? We are protecting it from vermin. We're protecting it from shitty little teenagers and four-wheelers that want to ruin our crop, right? Like, all of those things are important to make sure that we're moving through. Now, does a farmer go and do all of that in one day and then walk away and then come back in 6 months when it's time to reap what he sowed or she sowed? No. So why is it that we feel like we can send one postcard, and if we don't get a direct return on investment, that this is a horrible idea? Why is it that when we do one Facebook post and nobody sends us a DM asking us to help them list their house, we think that it's ineffective? Well, DJ said, right, lack of consistency is a killer. Joyce said lazy. I mean, I think some people could be lazy, absolutely. I do think that for the most part, it's maybe not having a lack of knowledge, right? Understanding some of those things that are there. So really going back to this time on task over time is something that we have to focus on. And another aspect of this is that it's about layering. I'm a firm believer in layering. I believe that it also it multiplies our return on investment. It multiplies our ability to get in front of individuals. All of these things are going to be really important. So this is the diversification aspect around marketing. So this is something else to be thinking of. And I give this example often when I'm teaching the Ignite material. And so I just want you to think about it. For those of you who are really wanting to be focused on social media, and social media is great, we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about social media. So bear with me for a moment. I know I've got a lot of stories and analogies, and this is how I teach, because I think that this is how we cement the importance of this material. On my birthday, how many people do you think posted on my timeline? So Duke thinks that no one likes me. He said 2. Everybody else thinks, a little bit more highly of me. Yeah, hundreds, right? Now, I can't tell you who I put on the blacklist because they didn't post on my timeline, or who did post on my timeline, because there were literally that many people. The saturation it was an emotion of joy and happiness and gratitude. It was not specific to the individual at all, right? So that's how many people posted on my timeline. How many people do you think text me on my birthday? See, DJ's already been in this class, so he knows my mom actually did text me. She didn't call me. Yes, Divya did. Many of you did, yes. And I've been teaching this for 3 years, so some of you are slow learners, and so you started to text me or call me on my birthday now, although you didn't in the beginning. Yeah, so I'd say probably somewhere between 10 and 20 people text me on my birthday, right? How many people do you think called me on my birthday? Debbie Watts, it's not The Price is Right. She's like 336. I have no idea, right? How many people do you think called me? Yeah, about 5. Yeah, about 5. And then how many people do you think sent me a birthday card? No, Jack came in person, Jason. Yeah, I want to say 2, one of which was my grandmother, and I don't know who the other one is. So when thinking about this for a moment, right, and thinking about the noise, which one would you rather compete against in terms of grabbing someone's mind share? Do you want to compete against the 500s, or do you want to compete against the 2? Now, what happens if you do all of it? Yeah, you'll be remembered. There is no competition, most likely to be noticed, that you're pretty awesome, will stand out. So this is why it's so important that we have a diversification in the type of marketing that we do, right? So if I think about what we've done, and so DJ, I'm actually going to pull you in real quick. I don't know which one you are. So can you raise your hand? I have 2 DJs in here. So the one who is the real DJ, will you please stand up? Okay. So DJ, go ahead and are you unmuted?
I think so.
Perfect. Okay. So when thinking about the work, and you and I have worked together now for 3 years, and working primarily on you building a farm.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the layering of activities that you do, especially pre-COVID, we'll definitely talk about what has happened post-COVID. Just kind of walk us through where you see the layering has been effective for you with your farming.
I would say I noticed a big difference when I started layering with postcards, the neighborhood association newsletter. And when I say that, at first I wasn't in an ad in it. I simply was delivering it to I volunteered. So I delivered it to part of the neighborhood. And then eventually it was this year, I think I started advertising in it. Doing 99% of my open houses in my farm. So people saw my signs, walking my dogs, going to the neighborhood porch parties, neighborhood association meetings. Because that really kind of took off, or made things take off for me. Because there were definitely times like, if I went away for a weekend, I didn't do an open house, or if, my postcard didn't get out in time, or something like that. I didn't make it to a porch party. It wasn't the one. I wasn't just doing one thing. I was. There was still a reminder, and I was still front and center in people's minds throughout that month.
And, I remember we were having this conversation in the beginning, and you were telling me about going to the porch party, going to the porch party, going to the porch party. And I asked you, how many of the people that go to the porch party are the same people every time?
Yeah, probably about, I'd say 75%.
Right. And so in a farm that has, what, 1,100 houses, is that correct?
Yeah, around.
How many people do you think were going to the porch party on a monthly basis?
Yeah, depending on time of year, anywhere between, I'd say like 80.
Yeah. So the idea here is thinking about, if I'm going to these porch parties and I think I'm being effective with a very small portion of the population. And so if I asked you, and I remember asking this because of you and your husband are very different in the way that you receive information, right? So if I said to you, if I wanted to get in front of Damien, right, how would I have to get in front of Damien, especially during that time when he was traveling for work, and so when he was home, he was really home?
Social media.
Yeah. He's either reading, either newspaper or something, television, or on his phone, right? With you,
Right.
there was a personal connection. So this is also where I think it's very important that we talk about, thank you, DJ, I'm gonna mute you now.
Sure.
It's very important that we think about that it's not the golden rule. The golden rule is to treat others the way that you want to be treated. The platinum rule is to treat others the way that they want to be treated. And it can be paraphrased the same way of saying, communicate with people the way that they want to be communicated to, right? We've got a really good friend of ours. She's a past client of mine. Like, I have a feeling that she will die with her phone in her hand. If you call her, she just stares at her phone and she waits for it to stop ringing so that she can go back to scrolling her phone. If you text her, she's going to text back within 2 or 3 seconds. So why would I continue to call that person if I know that she doesn't want to speak on the phone? So this is the concept of understanding that your marketing has to be layered and it has to be diversified to ensure that you're hitting as many people as possible, as consistently as possible. Now, one of the things that you kind of heard a little bit around the layering for DJ. So if we were to go and look at his particular farm, he was passing out the newsletter, and the newsletter usually would come out the first weekend of the month, right? So he knew that he was going to be hitting anywhere between 500 and 300 doors with the newsletter, right? In addition to that, he had a commitment to himself that he was going to do 6 open houses a month. And he was strategic about holding those open houses in his farm area, whether they were a listing by his brokerage or whether it was another brokerage entirely. Now, some of you asked the question, can you hold an open house for another brokerage? You absolutely can. Some of you then ask a follow-up question, which is, isn't that weird? Well, think about it. There is one sign for that other brokerage in front of the yard. And yet this gave DJ an opportunity to use 20, 25 signs that now are custom branded with his face on it. So you think there's 25-to-1 ratio. Do you think that more people were remembering his open house signs, or do you think more people were remembering the sign that's in front of the listing? Yeah, by the time that people got to the listing, they didn't even care about the sign that was in the yard because they had seen his open houses, right? So now you're thinking about how many people are moving through. So he's doing the newsletter, and then he's doing open houses consistently 3 out of every 4 weekends, give or take, right? In addition to that, the second Friday of the month or first Friday of the month, I don't remember, he did it, I didn't. That's when the porch party was happening. In addition to that, for any time that he was doing an open house, he would knock on the 50 nearest doors of those homes. So you think about those 50 individuals saw him from the newsletter. They may or may not have seen him at the porch party. They may or may not have passed his open house signs, and yet they definitely got a flyer for that month. In addition to that, he's doing a postcard once per month to all of the houses, whether they were those 50 in proximity or whether they were the 80 people that showed up at the porch party, right? Then in addition to that, we add another layer, which is to have video on social media. So boosting those videos, having a videographer come in and actually film him touring the home. So number one, you see the video. Two, you see the quality of the video and the type of marketing that he's doing. And then you're seeing the aspect of him and who he is as a person. We're going to talk a lot about video today, but I really want to make sure that we're hitting in so that you're understanding this layers. Now, some of you might also be going, well, that's easy because that's a farm, that's a particular area. Well, I want to encourage you to farm because I do believe that finding and working on a farm is one of the surest ways that you can COVID-proof your business, right? It allows you to be visible and in front of people and connecting, even if you don't see them in person, because their mind share of you is going to be significantly higher than those that don't. Now, how can we do this exact same thing, except for you can be farming, just it doesn't have to be geographic, it can be your sphere, right? Your sphere of influence. These are the individuals that you're going to put into your database, and they're the ones that you're going to communicate to. Now, for me, when we talk about communicating to our sphere, I want to know as much about this individual as possible, right? I want to know, are they LGBT? Do I want to know if they are, I want anything and everything. If you look at my database, we have, are they Catholic? Are they Jewish? Are they African-American? Are they gay? Are they Mormon? Are they dog lovers? Are they cat lovers? Are they Florida Gator fans? Are they Seminole fans? Are they Ohio State Buckeye fans? I mean, anything and everything. Are they cigar lovers? Are they boaters? Do they go to the beach? We want as much information as possible because then I can subgroup them and communicate with them in an effective way. Right? If I know that there's a new place that's opening, which is the Old Irish Pub underneath Fusion, and it's a place that's called Aficionados, and they're now going to be, it's a cigar lounge bar. If I know that in my database, I have 38 people that I've identified as cigar lovers that live in Pinellas County, then those can be my calls this week, and I can let them know, hey, I'm not sure if you're aware, I just saw that there's a new place that opened up. It made me think of you. First of all, how are you? And also, here is something of value that you may or may not have known about. Same thing, when the Tampa Bay Rays do Bark in the Park, and we have people who are identified as living in Pinellas County and are dog lovers, then it's that conversation of saying, you know, hey, Jason, just want to let you know, Doug and I are going to go to the Rays game, and it's Bark in the Park, so you can bring your dogs. If you are going to be there, please let us know. I'd love to connect with you and see you. Now, notice, I'm not buying him a ticket. I'm not saying that I'm going to pay for his beer. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just bringing something of value to him that is something unique that he finds value in, right? Remember what I said in the beginning. We are in the people business until they have a real estate need, and then we're in the real estate business. So this aspect of your marketing cannot just be, here are the 10 ways that you can use lemon to disinfect your kitchen. Like, I will unsubscribe faster than anybody, right? Please do not tell me the 10 ways that I can winterize my home. I live in Florida. I have no reason to winterize my home. And quite frankly, the best test that you can do with some of your marketing is if you find it boring, they will absolutely find it boring, right? So understanding some of the activities that are here and the way that we move into marketing is to make sure that we are communicating effectively, that we're also building our brand. So let's get into our brand, right? So our brand, I have a philosophy, and I believe in something that is called the principle of thirds. The principle of thirds is the idea that 1/3 of your content, especially on social media, particularly on social media, 1/3 of your content should be local influencer. You should be the individual who knows about the new condos that are being built, about the new cat cafe that's opening, about anything and everything that's happening around town. Is there a music festival happening this weekend? Is Rib Fest happening? Is something happening at the pier? Is there live music somewhere? Are there free pictures with Santa? You are the person who is connected to the community. This is also showing that you are a local expert, not just that you know interest rates, but that you are absolutely plugged in, because we sell lifestyle, right? The person who lives on the water is going to have a completely different lifestyle than the person who lives in a bungalow in midtown, right? That individual is going to have a completely different experience than someone who lives in downtown condos. So understanding that there is a level of lifestyle, and instead of doing a one size fits most, we really want to adjust and make sure that we're tailoring our message to these individuals. This is the difference between shotgun approach and sniper approach, right? So shotgun approach is to spray and pray. For any of you that have no idea how a shotgun works, right? It shoots thousands of little pellets with the hope that you hit something multiple times and that it's going to drop, right? As opposed to a sniper bullet is one bullet that's going to go after that one target that you've been specific with. The way that we win in our marketing is to move away from the shotgun approach and to move into have direct and meaningful conversations. Your money is going to be way more impactful. Your relationships are going to be way more impactful. Your return on investment is going to be way more impactful if you can approach and apply this concept, right? So we want to make sure that we have 1/3 that is that local influencer. This is also you, if you're out and about, take pictures of the things that are the lifestyle, right? If you take your dog to dog parks, highlight some of the dog parks. If you see a new mural, because we had the mural festival last weekend, post about the new mural. If you have gone and enjoyed the pier, go ahead and post about the pier. If there's a restaurant that you love that makes gorgeous drinks, please take a picture of it, right? These are the things that are super impactful because you are showing people the aspect of the town that you live in that you enjoy and that they're supposed to love as well. That's 1/3. Then 1/3 is real estate. This is you actually, since we don't have our physical brick and mortar for our particular business, right? This is you turning the open sign on. This is you doing open houses. This is you doing showings. This is you going to brokers' opens. This is you posting about marketing or market updates, whether it's a particular neighborhood or it's the zip code or the county. This is also the opportunity where you can be the source of the source, right? So if you have a lending partner, if you have a title partner, if you have an AC guy, if you've got a plumber, figure out ways of promoting their business. And by doing so, coming from contribution, you will reap the rewards, right? As we move into summer, even though we're moving into winter right now, right? But moving into summer, I would project and already have scheduled that I'm going to film an interview with my AC guy. And I'm going to ask him to give us, everybody likes the kind of number fact things, right? So give me 5 things that we can do to ensure that our AC is going to make it through the summer, right? What are some of the things that we can do that can save us a lot of money? And a lot of people don't know that sometimes if your thing freezes up, you can literally take a shop vac to the spigot outside of the PVC of where the line is drained, remove the algae, and all of a sudden your AC is going to work again. If your AC guy came out there, that's a $300 bill. The fact that you're able to educate your people on that, it's a $20 thing if you use the bucket from Home Depot, right? These are the types of things. You can talk about that. You can talk to your lender partner if someone's thinking about refinancing. You do not have to be the end-all be-all that knows everything about everything. Utilize those individuals because guess what? They also have Facebook pages. They also have business pages. They also have people who are going to be interested to share the post that you've shared because they're in it, right? So we're able to make sure that we're showing 1/3 real estate. This is the constant reminder to the individual that you are in real estate. Remember, because we're in the people business until they have a real estate need, and then we're in the real estate business. Yet we always want them to know that we're always working. Not to be confused with every single one of your posts needs to be about real estate. Or if you've just started getting into real estate, please stop posting those stupid real estate memes. No one finds them funny. If you think it's like low-key reminding people that you're in real estate, the only people who are liking and loving it are other real estate agents without any business. Okay? So please stop doing that. No one finds them funny. So then the last third is the HGTV, what I like to refer to as the HGTV host, right? This is the aspect that is putting you on video. We knew, and we've known this for 4 or 5 years now, that by 2021, 80% of the content that we were going to be consuming was going to be in video format. Guess what? COVID pushed that deadline up to now, right? Look at TikTok. Look at the way that people are utilizing Instagram TV, Facebook Live. I'm in front of you right now on Facebook Live for many people, right? These are the aspects where if I can show a portion of who I am. Let me ask this question to the people that are on here. How many of you love Chip and Joanna Gaines? Or have an affinity for the Kardashians? Or have an affinity for the Real Housewives? Right? There is this aspect of where people go, I don't understand why reality TV is so impactful, right? So understanding that these are the things that are very important, because what's happening is people are having a connection to the story. There is something that's called narrative resonance, right? So narrative resonance is this idea that when you listen to a story or you watch a movie, right? And this is where everybody wants the underdog to win, because everyone slightly identifies themselves as the underdog. There is a narrative resonance. I'm hearing something that is speaking to my soul, my inner story, right? So understanding this, that's what's happening, right? This is the thing that I think is so funny when people are like, oh my God, you know, us and the Kardashians, we have so much in common. Okay. And yet there is that narrative resonance. There's something that's happening. Well, the same thing happens here. Your JCPenney headshot doesn't do anything to let people know who you are, your level of authenticity. So I encourage many of the people that I coach, if you like to cook, please show that you like to cook. Share that aspect of you. If you make really great drinks, you love mixology, share those drinks. If you're a person who likes to do restoration projects, or you like to do DIY projects around the house, document yourself and be on video through that process. The aspects of this is that you are connecting with people on things that have nothing to do with real estate, so that they already know, like, and trust you, that when it's time for them to make a real estate choice, it's the natural progression to want to work with you and your business. Right? So the ideas of these three, I think, are very important for you to understand. And for me, you know, I hear from some people that it should be 80-20, 80% personal, 20% business. I really do think that if you can do this kind of this 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, it can be very helpful. Now, for those of you that are thinking about what can I do, and you've been talking for 45 minutes and we haven't even gotten to my marketing plan. It's so important that we have this conversation so that you can see how the connection is leading to the overarching story, right? Marketing is a long game. Prospecting is a short game. I can pick up the phone, I can call a for sale by owner, I can get an appointment, I can get a listing. That's today business. Marketing is tomorrow's business. So it's staying in people's lives, it's staying connected with them, it's building relationship, building rapport, it's being in the human business, coming from contribution, and always being in a space of gratitude. That's where we have this change in our business, right? So the principle of thirds is very important, particularly on social media. It's important for you with your database to start identifying the individuals for who they are. Be paying attention to the things of what they post on social media. Be interested in their interests, and then start to market to them about things that have nothing to do with real estate. Because when it's time for those things about real estate, they've already been programmed to kind of look at your page. They like following you. They like the content that you're creating, right? So that every once in a while, if I see Jason is posting something and I like Jason's posts, then when I see the random thing about he just sold something or he just went under contract, I'm going to like it, and I'm going to pause for a second because I like the other stuff that he likes or that he does, even though I might not necessarily be interested in that moment about him doing something. But it's making this little blip in my head that is a 1 to 2 second connection that is Jason, real estate, Jason, right? So this is where we get into some of the aspects that you can do. For one, when talking about social media, I really like building a framework. It's how my brain works. I like to make things as easy as possible. Many of you know me, you know that I have 45 of these shirts. I have both crew neck and V-neck. But every day I do not have to make a decision about what I'm going to wear. I wear a black t-shirt 95, if not 99% of the time, right? I don't want to think about it. So it's the same thing with my business on what are we going to post. So for our real estate sales business, one of the things that were important for us is to kind of establish a Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine. So every Monday, we live in the city of St. Pete, and there is an abundance of murals, right? We really have a wonderful art collection of these murals, and they keep popping up all over the place. So the idea is that every Monday is Mural Monday. So it's very easy for us to have a picture of the murals. They're already cataloged. We have them archived. We're able to find information because of the mural festival that happens about the artist and about the inspiration of the mural. It literally is a plug and play on Mondays. On Wednesdays is What's Up Wednesday. So What's Up Wednesday is what's new. Is there a new development? We're using the local blogs that kind of tell us about the new building that was sold, or the new restaurant that's coming into town, or the condo that passed city approval for the permits, right? That's just our little update on Wednesday. And then on Friday is Foodie Friday. Doug and I love to go out. We love to experience different restaurants. COVID has obviously put a bit of a hindrance rather. And so for us, it is about, normally on Fridays is Foodie Friday. We would highlight a local restaurant, or we'd highlight somewhere that we're going. And this is an idea of connecting people. Now, of course, all the other times is where the open house stuff, or the just listed, or the just sold, or the market report, or the interview with our loan originator, right? All of those things are peppered in. But we know no matter what, we will consistently have this content on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What do we have to post today? Instead of going, I don't know what possible topic, it's Monday, it's Mural Monday, what can we post? You can make it Market Monday, right? You can make it Small Business Saturday if you're going to interview a small business. And then you post early in the morning when people don't really have plans, right? Like you post at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, you will get a significant amount of engagement before people have everything else that they have planned, right? So these are the types of things that you can do to go ahead and preset in your mind on a weekly basis the type of content that you're going to put out. Now, this is separate than what we're going to talk about in terms of effectively farming your sphere. So for those of you who have been around for a little while, you know about something that is called the 36 touch. The 36 touch is the idea that there are 365 days. If we were to divide that by 36 touches, it means that the individuals in your world who are a part of your sphere, people who know, like, and trust you, or at the very least know who you are and have met you either in person or on the phone, meaning they know your name and they know that you're with whatever real estate company you're with, right? So this idea is that they will hear from you in a diversified way every single day in 10-day increments for the rest of your career. Some of you are like, oh my God, that's a lot. Let's think about how many times you hear from Amazon. Let's hear how many times you hear from Wayfair or Zappos or any of these other companies, right? You hear from them dozens of times, and yet it doesn't bother you because until it's time, right? It's the same thing. We had a junk drawer, right? The junk drawer used to have all the random crap, and it used to have the random, Chinese restaurant menu or whatnot, right? It's the same thing. We would get those things in the mail. We get them in the wallet. It doesn't matter until, guess when it matters? When I'm craving nasty, fatty, high cholesterol Chinese food, I'm digging through that junk drawer and I'm looking for that menu. What the hell is that place called, right? The idea is that we are going to be consistent so that either right before or right after they make the decision to think about real estate, you are the first person that comes to mind. So the 36 touches broken down into 12 emails. They're monthly emails. That is this month in real estate. It's an update. It's whatever you want to do. Again, going back to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, one of the things that we had implemented and we really should go back to is how many of you have ever had the question, and I'm sure we're going to do it today. What do you want to do this weekend? I don't know. What do you want to do this weekend? I don't know. What's going on? I have no idea. All right, well, look it up. So then we look into the Tampa Bay Times and we see what are the things to do this weekend. Oh, yeah, that's right. That gallery opens this weekend or whatever it might be, right? So instead of doing that, what we did is we were just proactive. We went on to Creative Loafing and we went on to the Tampa Bay Times. And for those of you that are on here that are not a part of our area, I'm sure you have a local publication within the newspaper that will talk about upcoming events, both virtually and in person. And so the idea is that we took 4 or 5 things that we thought were interesting to our people, and then we just turned it into a little one-page template. And it was on Friday, we sent it out and we let everybody know, hey, here are the things happening this weekend. And we did it separately for those in Hillsborough County and those in Pinellas County. Again, you do whatever works for you. So you can really move through these things. All right, back to the 36 touch. So 36 touch is 12 emails, some kind of update. It could be a newsletter. It could be just a market update in general. Then it's 12 postcards. Once a month, we're doing a postcard, right? So we're already at 24 of the 36. It's 4 phone calls once every 90 days. And it's a simple call, right? Hey, Alexandra, it's Michael. How are you? Great. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to check in on you, see how things are going, right? It looks like we've got a second wave of COVID coming on. Are you working from home? How are things going? If you need anything, let me know, okay? Awesome. Listen, while I have you here, do you have any real estate needs that I can help you with? Or do you know anybody? Great, thanks, right? Boom, hang up the phone, next call. The idea here is that we're just checking in with our people. If you have a team, this is even better, right? Hi, this is Michael Reedy with Keller Williams. I work with Anna Olson and her team. And I just wanted to give you a call, see if you have any real estate needs this week that we can help you with. No? Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye-bye. You can say that same script in perpetuity forever. Do you have any real estate needs this week that we can help with? Right? So we've got the email, we have the postcards, we have the 4 phone calls, right? We're at 28. And then we have something that's called, in my world, called 5 sticky things. Now, no, they don't have to have adhesive, although they can. These are 5 things that are going to stick in their mind, right? And so this could be, maybe you're doing pies for Thanksgiving. Maybe you're doing ornaments for Christmas. Maybe instead of sending out Christmas cards, you want to send out New Year's cards. And so you do dollar scratch offs and you put them in the Christmas or in the New Year's cards and you say, wishing you luck in 2021. Or you wait for a holiday where they don't get a lot of action. And so you send it to, like, on St. Patrick's Day, wishing you the luck of the Irish, same dollar scratch off. Maybe you're going to do flowers for Mother's Day. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're doing college football schedules. Maybe you're doing to-do lists that are magnets that go on the refrigerator. It doesn't matter. Now, for those of you that only do the calendar magnet and you don't do any of this other stuff, I can't tell you how many listings I have taken where another realtor is on the side of the fridge. It's actually one of my favorite things in this job, is to look at someone else whose picture, it's their glamour shot from the 80s, and it's the calendar, and it's the only thing that they do as they're marketing for the year, and then they wonder why they lose out. I guess they just want a tax deduction, right? So the idea is that it's all about this layering and consistency. Someone gets an email from you on the 1st, okay? Then we're gonna schedule for the postcards to hit on the 15th, right? So again, because we still gotta get to math, right? So we got 12 postcards, 12 emails, we've got the 4 phone calls, we have 5 sticky things, and then we have 3 events. Now these events can either be client appreciation events, they can be events that you pay for, they can also be events that you use as an opportunity. So just as I gave that example of Bark in the Park at the Rays Stadium. Another thing that we love to do is normally in the month of October, there is the Pops in the Park, where the Florida Orchestra plays in the Vinoy Park. And there's about 5,000 people that show up pre-COVID, right? And it's absolutely free. You go out there, you put out your lounge chairs, you put out your blankets, you do your thing. You can absolutely go out there and just block off a big area for your people. You get there early and you have them there. And it's just, hey, just want to let you know, we're going to be at the Vinoy Park this Saturday or Saturday 3 weeks from now. It's the Pops in the Park. It's a wonderful event. The Florida Orchestra plays music. There's fireworks. There's kids and everything. We're going to have popcorn and refreshments. We'd love for you to join us. It's not about the event, folks. I actually don't want a lot of people to show up to the event, because the more people that show up to the event, the more it costs me. The reason why we have the event is because for the 6 weeks leading up to the event, I can invite and call about something not related to real estate. And then we have the event, which we get to document. And then for the 2 weeks following, we either say, thank you so much for coming, or so sorry that we missed you. The point of these is to have diversified approach of connecting with people. Now, another aspect of this is also the fact that we are tech-enabled agents. So notice that that 36 touch once every 10 days does not include anything that we talk about on social media. Because again, we're fighting with so much noise, and yet it's very important. The 36 touch is in addition to the social media. One of my favorite things about this process is when I see you out and you're in my sphere, I don't want to bring up real estate every single time, right? The last thing that I want is for my people to go, oh God, here comes Michael. He's going to ask us for a referral. I never want my people to feel that way. So what I love is Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a great book, and it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. You want to read it? You can read it. You don't have to. I'm telling you what it's about, right? This idea of my marketing is doing these subtle jabs. It's, hey, Michael's in real estate. Hey, Michael's in real estate. They sold another one. They sold another 6. The market is hot. Are you thinking about selling? Boom, 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 consistently. And so when I see them in person, I can just say, hey, how are you? How are the kids? And they go, oh, they're great. Listen, you guys are killing it. We love seeing all of your stuff. Those videos are amazing. That is the, I know my marketing is in full effect when by the time that the conversation is over, they have talked to me about real estate as opposed to me talking to them about real estate, right? So these are some of the things. I know I've dropped a lot within the first hour. Now we start to move into your plan. So before we do that, let's just get some ahas from you so far. What are some takeaways? What was new for you? What ideas were different? What's meaningful for you so far around this conversation? As a reminder, AHAs stand for agents helping agents. So you might have heard something, you might have taken some notes down, something might have spoken to you differently than someone else, maybe they missed it. So by you bringing it through in the chat box is an opportunity for someone to have it cement a little bit more for them. So that's why it's so important that we do that. Lee said, how much birthday cards can have an impact because they are so rare these days? Absolutely. Arlene said, we are in the people business. Absolutely. Jay says, laser beats shotguns. Agree. Joy said, using themed days on social media, right? So Mural Monday, Foodie Fridays, What's Up Wednesday, Social Anxiety Saturday, whatever it is, right? We just want to make sure that we are focused on the activities that are going to be consistent. So we don't necessarily have to think about what the topic is going to be or the genre. We can then just focus on execution, right? Jason said, I sent fall gratitude cards and got a tremendous response from folks. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that they're so important to be able to, in this time, right? The month of November, the year of 2020, this is the time to be appreciative of so many things, right? Let's see, Genoa said over on Facebook, your explanation of building the framework for social media, i.e. the Monday, Wednesday, Friday was helpful, and the ideas that you gave. Divya said, being consistent with your marketing, know the lifestyle of your clients, communicate with people the way that they want to be communicated. Absolutely. And see, the other aspect of this is what I was getting at when I was saying that we are tech-enabled agents. There is no way that with the thousands of people that are in my world, there's no way that I could keep up with everybody's life events without social media. The great thing about social media, because algorithmically, whether it's someone's birthday or they get engaged or their dog passes away or a relative passes away or they're pregnant or they have a wedding or they deliver a baby, right? Like the high highs and the low lows, if they document them on social media, they show up. And yet it's the same thing as before. So in your people's world, when they post on social media, please don't just like it. If you just like it, they're not going to be a part of your algorithm. Comment on their page, because here's the other aspect, right? The individual themselves, if you continue to show up and support them, whether it's the good or the bad, and they remember that you're consistently showing up, If they know 2 or 3 other agents, you're the one that cared. And so that's why they're going to want to work with you, right? So this is the idea for me. I'm not just going to RIP in the comment section. I'm not just going to sad face on Facebook, right? Especially when someone is mourning. I have a good friend of ours, and I think I've told this story before. And I'm not name dropping just for the sake of name dropping. A good friend of mine is a former Tampa City Council member. And I share that with you because, as you can imagine, being a city council member, there's a lot of people who are clawing at your attention. And a couple of years ago, his father passed away. And he had a very close relationship with his father. And I don't necessarily know how people mourn. So I don't know if he was ready for a phone call. I felt like a text message was insensitive. And sure as hell, just posting on Facebook wasn't going to do it. So I just went to Publix, grabbed a sympathy card. Doug and I filled it out. It was not branded for my company. It was not it wasn't with the company address. It was my personal home. And we sent that sympathy card. And about a week later, he called and he said, I just want to say thank you. You were one of the only people who sent a card. Now, here's a man that has lobbyists and has community leaders and has other elected officials and has all these people that are trying to pour into his world. And yet he wanted to call and say thank you because we were one of only a few people who actually sent a card. There is still power in direct mail. There's still power in diversification. Don't lose sight of the impact that those little notes and things can happen, right? Absolutely. Let's see, some more answers. Debbie said, I like that your marketing is working ahead of you so you can be genuine and interested in the present moment with people and keep them to bring up real estate. Absolutely, right? This is so important as we move through this process. So now we get into your actual plan. And so this is the part where if you've got notepads or if you've got some things, it's going to be important for you to be taking some notes as we move through some of the material. So I need to just pull up this other link really quickly. You should have already received it. I know that Shantae posted on Facebook. I'm posting the link here for you. So you have the link for yourself. Don't worry. I'm going to screen share so that we're going to have it out. So here's the thing that's so funny to me, right? When we talk about the 5 sticky things, is just as Jason said, he sent out fall gratitude cards. How many of you have intentions of sending a holiday card this year? This is also for me why it's important in my world that we identify those who are Jewish and those who celebrate Christmas, right? Now, and technically those don't have to be mutually exclusive. I should say those that observe Hanukkah and those that observe Christmas. Because if you send, first of all, if you send a holiday card and it drops on December 20th, then there are lots of reasons as to why that is bad. One of the main reasons is because the shelf life is really, really short, right? When do people normally take their Christmas stuff down? Yeah, so quite a few people, it's New Year's Day, right? So if my Christmas card or my holiday card is dropping on the 20th, then, and if it's DJ's house where they take it down on the 26th, then I only had 6 days, right? If it's New Year's, then it's like 11 days. So for me, I'm not going to tell you not to, no, Debbie. This is the idea that for me, I want our holiday cards specific to whatever is going to be observed. And it's totally fine to do happy holiday. And yet, if you know, then I'm going to be intentional. So we actually have 3 batches, right? We have the happy holidays that we don't know. We have those that we know who celebrate Hanukkah. We want to be intentional and go, hey, I see you for observing Hanukkah here, happy Hanukkah. And then for those that observe Christmas, we know that they observe Christmas, then I'm going to send them Merry Christmas, right? I'm not going to be some a-hole who's like, I'm not going to be PC. It's not about that. It's that I'm being intentional and caring about the people in my world. If I just take an extra step to be intentional, think of the impact that that has, right? So this is, for me, the idea that we want to send out cards the weekend after Thanksgiving, meaning next weekend, right? So if cards are going to go out next weekend, then that is for the idea that it's going to be on people's mantles, it's going to be on people's little card tree or whatever it is for the entire month. They got a longer shelf life by being intentional. Now, this is where the marketing plan comes in. Now, if I need the cards to go out by next Saturday, or actually to drop by next Saturday, which means that I need to have them at the post office by Wednesday because we have Thanksgiving and then Black Friday, right? Then it's like, how far back did I need to have the design finalized in order for the turnaround, whether I'm using Shutterfly or Vistaprint or a local company, what's their turnaround time for a print job? Now, then going even further back, when did we have to schedule photos so that we can have the photos done, we can have them edited, we can have them returned, we can then send the final draft over to the print house, have them returned back to us, and then mailed out to our people. I have been coaching real estate agents for so long that I don't know why, but somehow the holidays just sneak up on them. Earth Day just sneaks up on them. Mother's Day just sneaks up on them. Veterans Day just sneaks up on them. They have, I really wish that I was going to do something for that thing, but I just forgot about it, or I procrastinated, or it wasn't on my radar. This is why the calendar is so important. So you do have in your email, right? We have an annual calendar. So on the annual calendar, and I wish this is where you're going to have to take some notes because you're going to need to print this out and do this later, right? So what I like to do is I like to build a legend or a key, because those are synonymous. Every time I teach this class, I'm always like, is there a difference? There's not. So I'm going to build a legend, right? Or a key of symbols that I'm going to use. And so you can use whatever you want, but you just need to remember what they are. So if, let's say that for your 36 touch, remember 12 emails or 12 postcards or 5 sticky things. Let's say for my emails, I'm going to use triangles, right? And for postcards, I'm going to use squares. And for sticky things, I'm going to use circles. And for special events, I'm going to use stars. What I want you to do now, whether you have this printed out already, or if you have a legal pad or Word document, I want you to make a decision now that is saying, when am I going to do X, right? So the idea of, when do you want your postcards to drop in the mail? Is it the 15th? Is it the 1st? Is it the 30th? Is it the 27th? I don't care what it is. I would suggest probably the 1st or the 15th, but you do you, right? And so you're going to identify, every month I intend for the postcard to go out on this day. Then you're going to do the same thing for email, right? So, and for those of you who have an automatic email already set up, many of you that are on here that are with Keller Williams, you've got the automatic this month in real estate. I believe that it drops on the 15th, right? So if my email drops on the 15th and I don't want to hit them twice on the same day, then I'm going to put my postcard on the 1st. So I know that the 1st of every month, I am going to have my postcards drop, right? So go ahead and do this now. Identify, when do you plan, and if you're the person who's like, I'm not doing postcards, okay, whatever. But the idea here is that you want to identify, when do you plan on the emails to go out each month, and when do you plan the postcards to go out each month? And then what I'd like for you to do is, in the chat box, I want to hear from you your commitment. What does that look like? Just tell me, emails 1st, postcards 15th, or whatever you want to do. Just put it in the chat box for me. Okay, good. So Jordan said instead of postcards, he wants to do door hangers on the 15th. I'm assuming for a particular farm, right? The postcards more than likely would be for a sphere where it's not a particular area, right? You can, if postcards sound expensive, if door hangers sound expensive and you want to do a flyer, you can do that too. If you lit, right? We're going to just call it lit drop, right? You can lit drop on whatever day, right? So if your intention is to do that now, if you're doing in more than that, right? So like Lindsay and DJ might have that, the thing that goes to our farm is on this day, and we're door knocking on this day, and the email's going out on this day. You can have more than the two, right? But the idea here is looking it out. Now, here's my question. For those of you that are doing your emails, are you using an automatic email or are you having to create the content for the email? Have I lost people? Slow typers? Didn't go to typing school? Okay, so Debbie uses the market update on command, which means that the email normally, if you're going to use one that's automatic, then it doesn't require any prep work, right? So Denise says that for her, she does her emails herself. Gail says that she wants to do her emails herself. So my question for you is on your calendar, if you know that you want your emails to go out on the 1st, Ryan says himself, right? If you're going to be creating the content, let me just stop screen share, we'll go back and forth. If you're going to be creating the content on a monthly basis, when is your deadline for yourself to have that content completed for the email? This is called a production calendar, right? So in order to execute and not feel overwhelmed or feel high anxiety or feel like you're always behind, we have to plan the execution of the production, right? So this is the idea that if you're going to do this, then this is the area where it's going to be important. Now, thank you, Mike, for bringing this up. He says this is a category that he needs help with. He's like, I can write one, but sometimes it's too wordy or it's last minute or it's time consuming, or you're doing a $15 an hour job when you could be focused on everything else, right? And so understanding also that this is a very important part. Majority of the people aren't going to read your email. So for me, I don't necessarily give too much effort to the content, right? Because the concept here is that we are doing, there are just these 1 to 2 second little memories, connections, right? Michael Reedy, real estate, Michael Reedy. Michael Reedy, real estate, Michael Reedy. So when it's the email, right? They see my email in their inbox. They don't even open it, but it says Michael Reedy, real estate. Your month in real estate. Scroll. They get the postcard from me. Michael Reedy, trash. Great. They're on social media. Michael Reedy, scroll, right? But the idea here is that they're going Michael Reedy, real estate, Michael Reedy. We're making these little micro tears, right? These connections in their brain that are saying that these are the activities that are just constantly reminding them that you're in business. So this is the idea that it's not necessarily about the content. Now, I will say this with your email should not just be your first name and your last name, right? So like when you're in Google or whatever, and it asks you what your name is, my recommendation is put your name and then comma, and then use some kind of tag, right? So like Michael Reedy, comma, realtor, Michael Reedy, comma, real estate, Michael Reedy, comma, your realtor. So the idea is that even if they never open the email, when they just are seeing the inbox itself and who they received an email from, it's going to say my name and real estate, or in your case, your name and real estate, right? These are the things that are so important because everybody gets so caught up in the content itself. It doesn't matter. And quite frankly, you have about a 2-second rule, especially with print, right? And we have a little postcard. This is the idea that you have 2 seconds. So what's the content that I want them to get in those 2 seconds? I want my face to be at least a third of the size of the postcard. You keep hearing me in the thirds, right? A third of the size of the postcard. I want them to see my big ugly mug. I want them to see my name. I want them to see real estate and a call to action, which is call me. Some of y'all that do these postcards that have paragraphs, nobody's reading your stuff except for your mom, right? Like nobody's reading it. Now, the first time that people get postcards from you, here's what's going to happen. They're going to take a picture and they're going to go, look who came in the mail. The 37th month in a row, nobody's going to be sending you that text message. That doesn't mean that they're not getting it. This is the funny thing about marketing, is that there are some people who are watching you. There are some people who are plugged into you. There are some people who watch me do Reedy and Read all the time, and I never see them. It never shows them in the feed. I don't know that they watch it. And then I see them randomly out and about, and they go, hey, I love your show. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that you're watching it. Yeah, no, it's great. So this is the idea of do not think that you're always going to get some kind of feedback loop around your marketing. It doesn't matter. Time on task over time beats talent every time. So this is why in our postcards, about 60% of the postcards are going to look exactly the same. My postcards, there is the same border on the top, the same border on the bottom. There is me as the third to the left, and the top is going to say just listed, just sold, under contract. Whatever the top is going to say is what it's about. But it's going to basically look peripherally, if you saw in the corner of your eye a postcard after postcard after postcard, they would look virtually the same until you pay a little closer attention. And so whatever is the image that's in the middle, kind of think of it as a sandwich. The two buns are going to be exactly the same. You are 1/3 of the picture so that they see your face, your name is really big, and that they should call you. And then the inside is going to be whatever you just sold or market update or whatever. Some of y'all like to go into Canva or into designs and you pick different fonts and you pick different colors and you pick different styles. Your lack of consistency is hurting you. And quite frankly, the fact that once you build a template and you like the design, it should be liberating because you're no longer spending hours building content because you already have the templates there, right? So this is the idea that they are seeing my email. They're seeing me on social media. It's the same pictures consistently. It's the same colors. It's the same language, right? So they're getting that information from me consistently. The idea here, though, is you still have to figure out if you're going to do postcards, who's the print house that you're going to use? Depending on the print house, you're going to find out what their turnaround time is. That's going to tell us the very last day that I can get it to the print house in order for it to be printed and mailed and delivered by my first deadline or the 15th deadline. So then I have to walk myself backwards. Let's say that they need 7 days. And let's say that I want my postcard to drop on the 1st. So I go back 7 days, I go back a week. That I need the final draft to the print house. Well, how long does it take me to work on a draft? Probably just a week. I'll make a couple revisions, but it really shouldn't take me that long. So then what it means is that I'm going to put a deadline for myself that not only is the 15th the day that the email goes out, the 15th is my start date to start planning for what the postcard's going to be for next month. But wait a minute, we don't even have to plan. What do you mean we don't have to plan? Could I do a market update once a quarter? Yeah. So for every month that follows the quarter end, right? So we've got quarter one is January, February, March. We know that April is going to be an update on quarter one. We know that January is going to be an update of quarter four, right? We know that July is going to be an update of quarter 2. See where I'm going with this? So I already know now that 4 of my 12 updates are going to be market updates, or 12 of my postcards, 4 of the 12 of my postcards are going to be market updates. Here's what happened in the last quarter. Here are the X amount of houses that have sold. Here are the average days on market, right? And then we're going to get to the call of action. Curious about how COVID has affected the equity of your home? Call me for a private consultation, right? So this is the idea that you're able to focus on and work in some of these areas, right? To Joe's point, right? So for his direct mail, his title company is partnering with him to subsidize the cost. So it's about 30 cents each, and they're covering about 25% per month. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you are a strong listing agent, you notoriously use the same title company every single month. They get all of your business or majority of your business, you absolutely can ask them to partner with you, right? You work with a lot of buyers. Maybe you want to farm an apartment complex. Your lender is going to be more advantageous to go after buyer leads because they see a return on investment than investing in you farming for listings, right? So there are some things. For me, I'm very particular about my branding. And so if I'm going to be partnering with someone, if we're co-branding, I have controlled the brand. I have controlled the design. Whomever on their side that needs to approve it can approve it, but I'm not using their colors. I'm not using their little thumbnail. I'm not doing that stuff, right? So just be careful with some of these things when you co-brand because they can hurt you. The idea here is we're not really on the specifics, right? What's more important is, we are on the specifics. We're not on the specifics about the content creation. This is about execution. So when do you want to have yourself, I now know on my 411, right? For those of you that use a 411, this is the idea that on the 15th of the month, my 15th of the month protocol, that is when I'm going to be having a conversation either with my assistant or with myself or with my title partner, whatever it might be, of what we're doing for the postcard coming out. So we already know 4 of the 12, right? We really have 33% of it already identified. Now, are there any months where you would like to use your postcard as an opportunity to talk about a holiday or talk about something not necessarily real estate related? And if so, which month? We got quite a bit of dead air there because I know that some of y'all like peck on the computer. Thanksgiving, right? So Thanksgiving is one of those where our postcard, very much like what Jason said, our postcard is a giving thanks postcard, right? So we want to give thanks. 79% of our business comes from our sphere. And we would not have our success if it wasn't for the love and support of people like you. So please just know that we're saying thank you. And then it's a picture of the team, and that's it. And then on the back, there's a recipe. There's a family recipe of one of Doug's mom's recipes that he uses for Thanksgiving, right? That's the postcard for Thanksgiving for us. So that's 5 down, right? Maybe for the month of October, we do one around Halloween, right? So don't be spooked by the market. Right? There's all kinds of punny stuff that you can do. So let's think, what are some of the things, thinking about throughout the year, where are some opportunities that we have to take advantage of either holidays or special events or things that are going on? So what happens in January that we could potentially use, whether it's in print or it's in social media? What happens in January that we could use as an opportunity to talk about? So we've got the new year. Mike says the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is in Tampa this year, right? I don't know how many people are going to be there, but it's to be hosted here. Denise has Brooks Butterfly Bash, which is always a wonderful event and a huge thing to honor. So absolutely, absolutely, that's there. Anybody that has New Year's resolutions, love you, Denise. Anyone that has New Year's resolutions, right? We have some of those things that are in January. Winter, right? Winter actually starts in January. So like Julie said, you can do a list of fun calendar events for the year if you know that there are some things that are coming up. Absolutely. Right? I shared something with you, but we'll keep going. Let's just use our brain before we do a cheat, right? So what about February? What happens in February that we could do? Yeah, love. Valentine's Day, love on listings, right? I love, we love referrals, right? You can, so the idea here is that you can use a theme. Okay, Jordan, you said President's Day. Yes, that is that is a holiday, and you might use that as an opportunity, right? I'm sure that there's some very fun things that you can do this year around President's Day, right? There are some things. January is the inauguration, right, of whomever is going to be president, right? So then in February we've got Valentine's Day. For those of you, it's Black History Month, right? Absolutely. I was going to say for those of you that are with Keller Williams, we have our family reunion, right? March is St. Patrick's Day, so we can absolutely do Luck of the Irish. We also have Gasparilla going back a couple months, right? Again, don't know how that's going to look with COVID. What happens in April? So April is spring, right? So there's some things that we can talk about with spring. Some people like to send flowers or send seeds, right? We got tax day. We have spring baseball, right? The minors, which is huge here. We got a lot of stuff that happens here. We then have opening day, right, coming up. What happens in May? We've got Easter. Absolutely, Nicole. Thank you for that. What happens in May? Mother's Day, Memorial Day, May Day, Cinco de Mayo. Apparently that's not as important to y'all as it is to me. Right. So there's an abundance of things. Do you see my point? My point here is that you can make the decision now that we know that I'm going to do a market update for the quarter, and that's 4 of my 12. I can pick another 3 or 4. I can pick another 3 or 4 holidays that we'd like to use to be punny with our postcards to grab some people's attention, or maybe those are going to be our sticky things, right? So maybe we want to use a sticky thing around Mother's Day, whether we're doing, or maybe an event, right? We want to do an appreciation for any of those things, right? And so the idea here is going back to your calendar, right? We're going to say to ourselves, when is our postcard coming out? When is our email going to go out? Now is the question around where are our events going to be? What are some events that you would like to do? And when would they happen? If you're going to do a client appreciation event, where would your client appreciation event fall in the year? Right? If you're going to drive to a free event, right? Maybe you know about the musicals in the park, or the Shakespeare in the park, or the movies in the park, right? Where they play Jaws and all that other stuff, right? Maybe you're going to do the pops in the park. Maybe one of the things that is important to us with our values, number one, our team is called the Coastal Elite Group. Doug and I are very passionate about our local estuaries and our marine wildlife in the state of Florida. So one of the things that we love to host is we love to host coastal cleanups, right? So we also know that there are some different people in our world. right? We know that we have some philanthropic people. We know that we have some partiers, you know, anytime that they get a chance to get together and congregate, that's what they're going to do. And then we also have those that like to volunteer, right? So we try to do a diversification of that. We try to do, you know, some coastal cleanups where it can be a family-friendly event. We partner with Keep Pinellas Beautiful or Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, depending on where we're going to do the event. That's absolutely free to us. We then partner with our lenders and our title companies, and they supply breakfast and water. And also during COVID, a coastal cleanup is an easy thing to do because you can all spread out and can socially distance from one another, right? So we do those events. I told you about the Pops in the Park. Again, that's another free event that is going to be nominal for us, right? Maybe we're going to buy blankets. Maybe we're going to buy sheets, popcorn and refreshments. It's a really minor thing in order to be able to do those kinds of events, right? A client appreciation party. What is the goal behind the client appreciation party? How many people are you trying to invite? What are you doing? And this is one of the things for us. We did this whole event, or we started planning this event, Christmas with Santa, free pictures with Santa. There's going to be a cocoa bar and all this other stuff. We were going to do it for our sphere. We then realized our sphere are all dinks. They're double income, no kids, majority of the time, right? A lot of them are millennials. So one of three things is happening. They're either having a baby, getting married, or they're buying a house in no particular order. So we're all over the place in terms of what that looked like. So we actually had to pivot the event to not be a client appreciation party, but be an event in our farm that we were being intentional around, right? So this is the idea of you're just going through this process now so that you can then also prepare financially for the budgets around these events, around the postcards, around the sticky things, right? I'm not going to do a client appreciation event. I'm not going to do some memorable item, and I'm not going to do a postcard all in the same month. That's going to be a very expensive month for our budget, which leads us to budget. So the idea here is also, now notice on the 36 touch, emails don't cost you anything. Phone calls don't cost you anything besides the phone bill that you already have, right? The events can cost you something, or they don't have to cost you a lot of something. And you can also leverage your partners and some of the other things that are there, right? So we have these items that are in our place. So then our cost is going to be associated to our postcards, our direct mail, whatever that lit drop looks like, and then those sticky things, those memorable items. And then if we're going to be spending money to boost to social media. So the idea here is if that we look at page 157 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it says that we should be allocating about 10% of our gross commission income to our lead generation activities, both prospecting and marketing, right? So if, let's say that I have a goal of making $100,000, just for simple math, then the idea is that 10% would be the amount that's there. So that would be $10,000 would be adjusted for the year, right? If we think about the $10,000 adjusted for the year divided by 12, right? We're in the 800s that I have per month to dedicate. And that's going to be my commitment. Now I'm going to do something that's called red light, green light. So once I make this decision, I am committed to paying that amount of money for my marketing and my lead generation every single month for 6 months. And then I'm going to evaluate where I'm at. So Joe asked a great question. Joe said, when starting direct mail, etc., how long should we realistically wait to expect to start seeing a return on investment? If you're only sending one postcard a month, you can probably expect a return on investment 12 to 14 months down the road. But if you're doing postcards and you're doing social media and you're doing open houses and you're doing lit drops and you're doing the community events and you are blitzing that neighborhood, you can absolutely, I guarantee you will see return and results in 6 months or less. But you have to be committed, you have to be consistent. This is a wonderful thing from Gene Rivers, who's an amazing agent. He has a large team. He owns multiple brokerages and a title company, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other things. Gene came up with this wonderful idea that's called Mail Call C. right? So this is the idea that I'm going to mail you something, whether it's in email or direct mail or lip drop, right? Something is going to be given to you as an item of value. Then I'm going to call about the thing, right? So, hey, Joe, this is Michael Reedy with Keller Williams. You actually should have received the postcard from us. We sent one, should have got there a couple days ago. Just wanted to call, see, one, did you get the postcard? And two, did you have any questions about what's going on in the market, or is there anything real estate related that we can help you with? No? Okay. Well, have a wonderful day. If you don't mind, from time to time, I'm just going to check in, see if you have any questions or any needs with real estate. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Super easy phone call, right? And so the idea is that I'm mailing, that I'm calling. If they say, actually, yes, we do have a real estate need, or yes, we are curious about the value of our home, or yes, actually, my sister-in-law is wanting to move down from Philly, then we go and see them. We set the appointment. But the idea is that instead of me calling for no reason at all, I have a purpose to call because I'm following up on the thing that I've already done, right? The idea here is that you are going to be able to build the bones of your marketing plan, whether it's the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, kind of what's going to happen on social media. It's going to be the postcards planning out where I know, all right, we're going to do something fun with Valentine's Day. Now on the 15th of January is where I'm going to brainstorm. I'm going to go on Pinterest. I'm going to go on Google, and I'm going to spend 30 minutes just researching some ideas, see if I can't find something that was one that I liked, and then we're going to rip off and duplicate, right? So this is important as you're moving through this process to understand that the idea here is instead of allowing it to consume your time, right? We know that we will fill the time that we allow it. So if you give yourself all afternoon to research postcards about Valentine's Day, you're going to find yourself 5 hours later on YouTube watching a tutorial of how to use Photoshop. Right? Get away from that rabbit hole. So the idea is that on my 411 on my calendar, I will have time blocked on the 15th that from this time to this time, we're going to be focused on this thing for next month, right? And I have 7 days to complete it so that I can then get it to my print house so that it will drop by the 1st. So this is the idea. It's the same thing with my events. So if I know that my event is going to happen on a certain day, because I've identified that we want to do something in October, or we want to do something in August, or we want to do something in April, then I'm actually going to need to plan 8 weeks back. 8 weeks back is when we plan the who, what, where, when, why, which is going to give me 2 weeks to build an invitation and whatever marketing material that we need, so that we can then execute a plan for the 6 weeks leading up of making the introduction and inviting people to the event, and then sending a text message, and then sending a reminder, and then doing a video, and then sending one more reminder. And then we have the actual event. And then for the 2 weeks afterwards, we have the thank you for coming or the so sorry we missed you. It's a total of 10 weeks that I'm able to do those activities, right? So this is the idea of with 3 events, you are already having 30 weeks of communication in addition to all of the real estate stuff about something completely different. Maybe it's a toy drive. Maybe it is an angel tree, right? Being able to utilize the angel tree is something that if you're in our offices within the Keller Williams Chadwick Pinellas organization, something that we do. We end up adopting somewhere between 100 and 150 kids that are a part of the Department of Children and Families. They're children that are in foster homes. And it's a wonderful way to connect with your people, right? Hey, everybody, my office is doing an angel tree. And so we absolutely, any of our friends, family, past clients are more than welcome to adopt one of these children and can give them a wonderful Christmas or holiday, right? If you would like to adopt one of these children, please comment below, send me a private message, or give me a call at 813-508-8499. I'd love to pull one of the angels off the tree, be able to give it to you, and then I will also arrange to come pick up those gifts from you so that we can have them for those kids prior to the holidays. And you have between now and whenever that drop-off is to connect with your people about something that has nothing to do with real estate. These are the things that we can be intentional about. And guess what? We do an angel tree every single year. It doesn't have to be a surprise. For us, we do Earth Day. So we do the cleanup on Earth Day every single year, or that weekend, right? It's not a surprise. So do you see how this type of preparation is also going to reduce the anxiety and increase the probability that you will be consistent? Yeah. So give me your thoughts on using an annual calendar around building a production calendar for yourself and for your team. What are some ahas around this activity? Let's see. So Jordan said, creating a calendar will provide structure and hold you accountable. Absolutely. Mike Howell said, condensing our expectations to smaller fractions of time and attention for our efforts of our expectation. And our efforts. Kathy said the implementation aspect, right? Jay, facilitates diverse messages, not just real estate every single time. Absolutely. Duke said, will be my first, but I think that it will help to be more seen. I agree. So I know that the question will come up whether you ask it or not. People ask the question about, should you do, should all this be on your business page? Should you have your business page separate from your personal page? No. Let me say that. You can have a business page, but you should be posting this idea of the principle of thirds should be on your personal page, right? So the idea of anything that's business related, you can absolutely post on your business page, but then share that to your personal page so that your people can see it. And then if they want to look at more of your real estate stuff, then they can go backwards, right? So this is important as you're moving through this process and looking at some of the activities that are there, is the idea that on social media, we do want to be consistent. I know that we're at we got about 15 minutes left of our time together. And so I do want to talk about video. I've already talked a little bit about it. Video allows us to pull the walls down from this process, right? It allows us to show elements of ourselves. When we think about language, we know that only 7% of language is actually the words that we use. Everything else is body language and inflection. So we miss that in tests. We miss that in still photography. We miss the essence of who you are in these still captivated things. So by showing video, people get to say, I look like him, I sound like him. My son, he reminds me of my son. I can't tell you how many listings I had from people who said, you remind me so much of my son. I'm like, you can call me your son's name as long as I'm the agent that you use all the way to the closing. I really don't care. The idea is that we're using this as an opportunity to connect with people on an intimate level so that they feel seen, heard, safe. It's authentic to our brand, right? And so if you don't like the way that you look or you don't like yourself on video, you have two options. You can change or get over it, right? So you're either going to the gym, going to the plastic surgeon, or you're just going to shoot the video anyway, because you cannot afford not to be on camera. You can't. People are moving further and further away from television, and they're moving closer and closer to this being the TV, right? the phone being the TV. So this is the concept that for so many people, this is where they're getting their entertainment. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences of things. Facebook for me is an opportunity to connect and stay in touch algorithmically with those things that are happening in my people's world, right? Instagram is about pretty pictures and pretty video. The only reason why people are going on Instagram is to look at pretty things. So when you post that co-branded flyer for your open house that has a picture of you that's this big right next to your lender that's this big, and it's a whole bunch of language, that is not pretty. Do not put it on Instagram. No one thinks that that's cute. Now, the other thing about Instagram is that a lot of things are done and they're derived by the hashtags, right? So when someone does hashtag St. Pete, someone does hashtag I love the bird, someone does hashtag Tampa Bay, someone does hashtag Florida. What it's doing is Instagram is international, and it's kind of pulling your map closer and closer and closer to your area. You're also able to then kind of reverse prospect by going and chasing some of those hashtags. So in the search bar, you can also put hashtag St. Pete or hashtag I love the bird. And then that's going to show you other people that are in your area. So if you so chose, you can actually find those accounts of people who live in your area who are either visiting or do actually live here. And then you can follow them as an opportunity to potentially engage with their page. Now, they're going to go onto your page, and most of the time on Instagram, when someone is looking at your content, they're going to consume about as much as possible within 30 seconds, right? So you follow me, I don't know who you are, I see the little love notification that you're now being followed by Rob Bowen. I'm going to go, okay, well, who the hell's Rob? So I'm going to click on this page, and I'm going to scroll, and I'm going to look at some of his pictures. In that moment, in those seconds, probably not 30 seconds, right? Probably less than 10. I'm choosing whether or not I'm going to reciprocate the follow, whether I find their content to be entertaining or not. That again goes back to the principle of thirds, right? If I see pictures from the Saint, right? The new bar that's devil themed on Central. If I'm showing a drink on the DeSantos, the rooftop bar at Red Mesa downtown, Sunset. If I am showing some tapas and my cocktail and flames that are flying on level 11, and in the backdrop you can see the Gulf and the sunset. Those are going to be things that are aesthetically pleasing, that in a moment people are going to go, oh, I'm going to follow this guy because I really like these shots. I'd like to recreate these shots, or I'd like to be a part of that experience, right? So this is where you are marketers first, real estate agents second, because if people aren't attracted to either the lifestyle or the product that you sell, they're not going to engage with you. Now, for those of you that are worried about being perfectionists, I can promise you that ship should sail as quickly as possible, because the idea here is it's so important to realize that the quality will be found in the quantity. You'll get better. You'll learn filters. You'll learn editing aspects. You will get better at just doing scripts off the top of your head, right? You're going to be able to do things in one take. You're going to get better about lighting. All of these things are going to happen through practice. Don't worry about being perfect. What's important is that people see you try, and they see your personality. They don't remember what you said. They don't remember what you did. They remember how you made them feel, right? Maya Angelou. So this is the concept that's so important as we're framing 2021. Please don't just think that as an ad agency, it's about real estate memes or open house flyers. It's really about taking your marketing to the next level, because truly, effective marketing doesn't have you as the hero of the story. Effective marketing has your clients as the hero of the story. So people need to feel like and see that if someone works with you, they feel so special, so loved, they become the hero of the story. And so if I'm watching that, if I'm consuming that kind of content, and I go, well, I want to feel that way when I buy a house, then I know that I'm going to go to you because I'm going to recreate that moment. Does that make sense? All right, folks, we got about 9 minutes left. That's really all that I have. What I'd love to do is not hear my voice much anymore. And so also because of the fact that it pains me how slow some of y'all type. If you would, please, next to your name, you're gonna see that there's a little button that says raise your hand. I would love to hear from a few of you to just speak and tell me, you know, what did you get out of this? And then what's your action plan moving forward? How are you taking this information on a Friday at almost 3 o'clock and not just putting this in a binder and then walking away? How are you going to apply this? So yes, Miss Kathy, you gotta unmute yourself. There you are.
Okay. Implementation. I already had my budget and my calendar. It's now going to make it much easier to get the postcards and everything syncing together. Makes a lot of sense. So thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Miss Kathy.
Appreciate you.
All right, someone else, please raise your hand for me. What was meaningful for you out of this conversation? I know that we did some ahas through this process, but I really want to know what was impactful, and then more importantly, how you're going to apply this. Yes, Gail, how are you? You're muted in case you're talking. You're gonna have to unmute yourself.
Mute.
There we
Okay.
go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I was very impressed with everything. I just have to get organized because I think all of your ideas were fantastic. Even if I just use 2, the improvement would be astounding. So I got a lot out of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And to your point, I did give more than, you know, you can do all of this, you can do 60% of this. If you do even 40% of this comparatively to, you know, the 2 or 3 that you might have scored yourself before this class, that is absolutely going to be something that's going to be an improvement for your business. All right, let's go. Let's have 2 more ahas, and then I will release you for the weekend. Let me see 2 more hands, please. You can either volunteer or be voluntold. All right, Jordan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. I think I'm going to focus on the time on task over time beats talent every time, because I'm more of a perfectionist, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm also going to just be more engaging with video. I realize that's, you know, the wave of our future, and our future we're living in right now. So there were a lot of great points here. And so I expect to, and at the very least, start with the calendar. And then once you see it on paper, then you're more likely to do it and implement. So thank you.
Perfect. I'm glad that you took that out of it. And yeah, I mean, time on task over time is probably one of my favorite things, right? To just really be intentional around the activities and the things that we are doing. All right, let's have 1 more aha, and then we will be done for the day. As a reminder, I need you to digitally raise your hand. If you're like raising your hand on the camera, I can't see you. Let's see, for Facebook, all right, Duke, hold on 1 second for me. For Facebook, Debbie Watt said, just good to hear it again. It helps so much for all of the reminders. Bo said being more specific and engaging with his content is going to be important. And so Duke, go ahead and tell me, Duke, what's some takeaways for you, sir? You are muted. In case you don't know how to unmute yourself, you can just hold down the space bar while you're talking, and that will unmute you. And then when you release the space bar, it'll put you back on mute. That's a fun little.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, just about everything you've done. I've got quite a bit of notes I've taken, but I like the 36 touches where it gets the contacts apart with people, 12 emails monthly, sending to people. It gets more too personal with people so they know who you are. And as you said, see you more, I believe is going to help me out quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad that you were able to get some value out of this, and good to hear from you, Duke. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm seeing, I might see you Monday if you're in the office. I got to see Dan there Monday morning.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Thank you, sir. You have a wonderful weekend. Let's see, Amber has a question, and that is, she's doing her 2021 GPS, right? Her goals, her priorities, and her strategies. And she knows that marketing is a focus. She said, should that be my one thing, and break down the priorities into different types? So you can do a GPS around marketing. Your one thing typically is going to be whatever it is business-wise, for you to fund your life by design, right? So let's say that for my goal, I want to make $300,000 this year. And so that means that I have to sell 10 million in volume at 3% commission. In order to do that based on average sales price, then that means that I'm going to have to do 48 transactions or whatever it might be, right? This concept will then say, that's my one thing, right, is achieving that goal for my life by design. My three priorities might be farming, might be sphere, might be agent-to-agent referrals. It might be farming, it might be sphere, it might be open houses. It might be online leads, for sale by owners and expireds, sphere of influence. Those would be your priorities. And then for your 5 strategies, these marketing aspects, these ideas would be part of the strategies as how you intend to hit your goal. For anybody that's hearing me use this language and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I just spent 2 hours with you and I felt like I knew what you were talking about, and now I have no idea what you're talking about. On December 16th, Rachel Sartain and I are going to be doing a business planning workshop again, doing a deep dive into this conversation, right? Around your economic model, which is how to fund your life by design, and then the lead generation model, that client acquisition, which is going to be your GPS of your marketing and your prospecting. All right, I hope that's helpful, Amber. All right, folks, it is 2:59 Eastern Standard Time, and I am being very respectful of your time and, more importantly, my time. I want to say thank you all so much for sticking with me, for being here for 2 hours teaching this class. I normally teach this in person, but because of COVID, teaching this online does give me the luxury of being able to reach some people who we normally wouldn't see. So love seeing some of the people who are on here that are from Washington State, as well as the East Coast of Florida and some other places. Thank you all for being here. Again, the best way that you can honor me and honor coming through this class is to put these things into action. If you ever have any questions about this material, please feel free to reach out to me directly, whether via email. My email is my name. It's michael.reedy@kw.com, right? michael.reedy@kwkellerwilliams.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Anything that you want to do to reach out to have clarifying questions, I'm here to help you. And I hope that 2021 is the year that you really take advantage of your marketing plan. Thank you all and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.